Hey guys, thanks for joining today with the Capital Raising Show. I'm Nate Dodson. Today we are visited by a real estate entrepreneur and a guy that is out there getting things done. Jake Ostrich, like the bird, great to have you today. Just so that everybody knows who they're listening to and why. Could you give us a quick little background about your involvement with real estate and kind of your focuses?
Yeah, sure. So my real estate journey started in probably 1996. I'll kind of say the condensed version.
Yeah, we don't need to go year by year for the last 30 years. And my God, we were getting old. You faded right off. I still got the gray coming in the beard, but fortunately, I'm going to die without a gray hair on my head. It's that I got going. At least it's good that you have hair. Yeah. Uh, I'll call any of it a win.
Exactly. Yeah,
Sorry, we're
so good. So 1996, there was actually an infomercial that there was an older gentleman. His name was Carlton Sheets. I don't think he's with us anymore. And he had a program, and the infomercial just it felt like it was on a loop, and I kept seeing it on the television. And I grew up in a general contracting business, so what I would see is these folks, they're buying a house, they're doing some repairs, and they're either selling it or renting it. They're making all this kind of money. And I'm looking at this, I'm saying something doesn't add up. There has to be something more. It can't be this easy. So I actually bought the course, went through it, read it, and I stuck it on a shelf, and it sat there for 2 years. I did nothing with it, right? Probably in 1998, I joined a very local real estate group that met once a month. And for the next 2 years, I just networked and tried to absorb and learn. And I finally woke up one day in January of 2000, and that's when I bought my first rental property. January of 2000, and I bought probably 12 in a year. And, then we started a family, and the kids were small, and I took a few years off. And again, fast forward a little bit, I went full time in 2008, and I just never stopped.
So you've been full-time in real estate. I mean, a lifetime considering the family, but full-time for the last 18 years, give or take?
Yes, full time. Yes, correct.
That's so important for everybody to really understand. Building the credibility, building the track record. Well, it's just getting in there and getting your, hands dirty, elbows, whatever that sound may be. But definitely getting in there and making it happen. And now you've built quite the rental portfolio. How many houses do you manage?
We currently have 45. They're like single family houses. They're scattered throughout a couple different counties that are close to me. I did have 90 at one time, but we recently liquidated 45 of those that was in the city of Philadelphia, and it just over the years it just didn't become a good fit for me and the business. So I'm down to 45.
I mean, let me just say congratulations. The pricing on real estate's getting a little softer. Great for buyers, not the best for sellers.
Yes.
It sounds like you got out at the perfect time and great timing.
Yes. Yes. It was definitely time to exit.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let me ask you kind of the next step along your journey. You started out doing the rental portfolio, but I know that now you're really pretty heavy into more that fix and flip arena.
Yes.
Could you speak a little bit to what you're doing on that side of the fence?
It's pretty basic. It's not, I don't really do anything different than anybody else. Have a list of wholesalers that send us deals, and some realtors that'll send us, off market deals. They're helpful to get them off market. We have bought some things off the MLS. It is possible. There's not a lot of deals that make sense, but there are some. and we try to buy them 30 to 40 cents on the dollar, uh, if possible, and go in, fix them up. I don't try to fix them up to the level to where we try to like squeak every dollar out of it, meaning, we're fixing up to get the one highest comp that you see.
Right.
I don't, I don't try to reach the top of the market. And the reason being is it's just one comp. It's like, oh, yes, did they sell it for that? Did they get a little lucky? Maybe they got that number, perhaps. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it, right? So, I don't push the numbers to the nth degree. So we'll fix it up to a level that will get a little bit of a lower price, and we do that because you eventually or ultimately you need to exit the deal, right? You can't hold on to this thing. You can't have multiple price drops, and you certainly can't price yourself out of the market, which leads to a whole other slew of issues down the road. So,
And I think you really nailed it with that pricing yourself out of the market. There is efficient use of capital. And that's what I'm really hearing you talk about. They put in $1 and can that be worth $1.50, $1.70? But that last dollar in, maybe it's only gaining $1.10.
yeah, that's Nate. That's perfectly said. Unfortunately, when you lose money or not make so much money on deals, then you really learn that concept. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have finished the basement, or I shouldn't have done something to the garage, or whatever the case may be in the project. Did that extra dollar yield me any more money at the end of the day? Because we're trying to sell the house so high, our burn rate of the capital, we just blew 3 months. So what did we really get? We didn't get anything. We lost time, momentum. Yes, you couldn't have said it better.
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't know if this would be a true statement or a false statement. So please correct me. Risk and reward. If you're trying to hit that top number, you're also investing more money to try to hit that top number. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be more profitable, but if your goal is to sell it for as much as anybody else has sold it, great, it's possible, but risk and reward, you're just dumping more money into it.
I tend not to take that high of a risk. Like you said, yes. Can you get lucky? Yeah, you can, sure. But it's just, there's so many factors that go into this thing, and just the clock ticks every second. The cost of capital is not cheap. Holding costs, and then kind of timing, like in the season. So is a big thing. The real estate market's not very active. Once like November hits, people really slow down. November, December. I mean, you might as well just go to Florida for those 2 months if you're a flipper, because usually on average, sellers are not really out there looking for your property. Now, you'll have to wait till maybe the middle of January, and then things will start picking up again. So in between those times, it's winter. There's the heat's running because it's winter time. Again, the cost of capital, the momentum. There's just a slew of factors that go into that. So I don't. To me personally, I don't tend to try to do that.
In terms of these factors that you're talking about, if you could kind of walk me through, you're looking at a deal. I don't care if it's MLS, if it's off market. You got a deal that showed up in front of you. What are you really looking at and thinking about whether or not it's a good fix and flip opportunity?
Sure. So first thing I'll do, I'll usually copy and paste the address, and I'll put it into Google Maps to check out like the street view. See what kind of street it is. Does it look like a residential street? Does it look like a rental property street? And that's if it looks like a rental property street and I'm looking for a flip, then I don't even go any farther, because that's it's just not what I'm looking for.
Does it tend to be like neighborhoods or more like streets?
Neighborhoods is good. school, obviously school districts is huge. Probably the biggest factors is the neighborhoods and definitely the street. I just kind of like, what I want to live there. Is this project going to be worth what I'm hoping it's worth on this street, or the street look a little sketchy, and you could have a great house on a sketchy street. It would work for a rental property, but you don't want a rental property at that. You bought this to flip it. So there's a fair amount of factors that go into it. But if it looks great and the street looks great, then I'll start to plug the numbers in to see if the math works.
Got it. And I'm guessing it's pretty easy for you to kind of figure out that capital budget.
Yes.
Of the actual fixed budget given a lifetime in real estate. For anyone that doesn't have a lifetime in real estate, like, how do you learn if I'm interested in getting in the business? What's the best way for me to become a pro like yourself?
You probably would have to become, or just hire a contractor or like a really skilled handyman. And, you're going to have to, pay him a fee, and you're going to have to walk the house and ask questions and tell, the contractor what your vision is for this place, what you want to do. And he'll be able to 9 out of 10 times give you like a ballpark rehab cost. And eventually, when you do enough of the deals, you'll start to gauge, yourself approximately what this is going to cost. Are there surprises? Of course there are. I don't think I've ever brought a project in exactly on like a budget. It just doesn't happen. You get as close as possible is what you really strive for.
Let me ask you this, kind of along those exact same lines. How do you deal with change orders, or does that not really come up that often for you?
We'll say, hey, can we change this, or can we add this? It's more about, as the project's going on, you're kind of seeing things in a different light, and you're like, oh, I didn't notice this before. Let's add this, or let's put a little nicer something in, or nicer light fixtures. And the contractor, if that's not in the budget, then it's up to the owner. It's up to me to say, hey, I understand it's going to be more money. Just give me a price. That's how I like to operate. I mean, you have to just tackle it head on. It's just a simple conversation. It's not, it's not rocket science. And they're there they want to work. They want to work, and they want to finish the project. Then it's just a matter of, how much it's gonna cost extra. That's pretty easy.
I do want to point something out, because what you said is different than a lot of the guys that I know that are just getting into it experience. And that is, you talk about change orders in terms of, well, that's because I'm asking for something new. I'm changing it.
Correct.
I know what is just a virus on the industry, and newer, less experienced people get caught in it, is the contractor intentionally underbidding to get the work, and then just surprise, here's a change order, here's something else that, hey, you should have known, but hey, we didn't expect or plan for this. And just all of a sudden, your $80,000 rehab costs $160,000.
Correct.
I'm kind of bringing these up for a big question for you that I actually didn't ask before. But
I was part of that. It happened to me on a project, and the contractor underbid it, and he eventually just walked away from the job. It was a massive learning experience for me, and like, the viewers could be looking at me saying, well, if you have all of this know-how and experience, how did that happen to you? And it did. I mean, there are con artists that you would believe that they were Jesus if they told you were. What lesson I took from that is you have to either have some boots on the ground that can go to the project each day, or let's say every other day, or you have to go there yourself, and you have to look to see what's done, and you always have to, what's done and what's not done, right? And you always have to gauge how much, how far and how much money the contractor has to date. So, and you kind of hedge that. So, meaning the contractor, let's say he's 50% done the job, right? But he has like 75 or 80% of your money already. You're That's not a good position for you to be in. That's a great position for the contractor to be in, because and I'm going to use the word leverage, but you know, not leverage in a cocky way, but you don't want someone else having leverage over you and control of the job, because then they start to steer the ship instead of, me steering the ship, because now they have more money and less work to be done. So they're kind of holding the candle, so to speak, there. So, and that takes time. That just, you can't formulate that mindset on your first job. So that might have been a long-winded way, but I let this guy over leverage me, and eventually he walked. And I had a private lender, and I'm going way back before I even had like the experience to properly speak with people. So I was a nervous wreck.
I mean, you've been in the business for 30 years.
So it's that saying, different levels, different devils. So I had to go to this lender, and I had to tell him the story. And of course, it's my responsibility, because he just handled the financing. I handled getting the property to the finish line. And luckily he was okay. And he gave me the rest of the provided the rest of the capital, get a whole new contractor, the whole process all over again. It was, I'll never forget that as long as I live. And it was a massive, massive learning experience. But I would never take that away from me. I would never take that experience away. I would never say, I wish I'd never been through that. I actually appreciate that adversity, because those adversities they have to happen to you personally. Otherwise, you cannot scale and you cannot grow into the person you need to be to really have your vision come to fruition. You have to go through failures. You have to lose money. You have to do it. Otherwise, you never become the person that you need to be to move up the ladder.
And I'm just going to throw this out, because that is a pure mindset type of discussion. That's entrepreneurship 101. It's really amazing how much, and I'm not saying anything real estate or what you're doing, but if you're being an entrepreneur, you're trying to build systems, you're trying to scale your business, mistakes happen.
Yes.
Wasted money. God, if I didn't waste money on, one too many software subscriptions that all of a sudden look back and like, oh, that ended up costing like $4,000.
Exactly.
Poop. Like, it's just kind of par for the course. It's
Exactly.
But I did want to kind of get back to, that's the reason why anybody that is just getting into this business, I'm a huge fan of mentors.
Absolutely.
And working in teams and learning and leaning and growing with one another. I know that you're raising capital for you in your projects. If somebody is earlier but really interested in real estate, would you be open to joint venture with people that may have an interest in bringing, hey, I can bring a pool of capital, kind of fund to fund style, to the table? Would I learn to grow themselves along with getting more deals done?
I'd be honored to. Absolutely.
Going to throw this out to everybody and anybody that is listening. Part of a great reason why to bring on experienced real estate professionals, experienced entrepreneurs, is to not just learn a little bit, but if you really want to dive into that next level,
Correct.
reach out to Jake. Find out how y'all can work together, where that synergy is, how you can learn working with somebody that's been in the business for 30 plus years. So, and surprise, Jake, just to throw that out there, because you do come to the table with so much knowledge that anybody, I mean, it takes 3 decades to get that level of knowledge and experience. So total kudos to you on that. But if somebody is really interested in learning more, partnering, finding out, hey, is there some synergy there? What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Sure. So probably the easiest way is just to send me a text. And I could give you my cell phone number. It's 610-331-9173. Just shoot me a text. If you call me and it's a weird area code, I probably won't answer because I think it's spam. But give me a text. We'll hop on a call, and I'm more than happy to help. I know how important it is. I used to call before I bought my first rental property. There was a guy in my life who was a little bit farther advanced than I was, and I would constantly call him. What do you think of this? And what do you think of that? Why can't I do this? And it was an immense amount of help. It was an indescribable amount of help. So to say, to go back to what you're saying, Nate, when you're starting out, ask for help. Just the worst thing to do is not ask for help. No one is here. No one's going to make fun of you because you're asking a question. I mean, it's just, I'm here to help.
Love it. And so Jake Ostrich of Lighthouse Capital, one more time, what was your cell phone number?
610-331-9173.
Absolutely love it. So I think the biggest takeaways are, hey, it takes a lot of experience to be your own real estate entrepreneur, to get your own deals done so you're not over leveraged, higher risk than potential reward, that it even makes sense. And it just comes from getting out there and doing it. But if you want to do it and minimize your risk, that's where learning, joint venturing, working with mentors, it just makes such a world of difference.
Worlds of different. Have the mindset that to welcome something that's not going to work out the way you thought it was going to work out. I hate the word failure, so I use the word lesson. Accept and want a lesson to happen to you. It's like you said, it's part of life. It's part of the entrepreneurship journey. This thing doesn't work unless you do have lessons, and just use that as a fuel. It will help you farther. Well, get one step up the mountain.
Love it. Well, Jake, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And for everybody else, if you do want to work with Jake, you got his contact. If you're looking to raise more capital, please feel free to reach out to us at findmoreinvestors.com. And until then, talk soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.